Oh my god, be careful!
We all know that VR is dangerous.
I can't see fucking shit out of this thing.
People have broken controllers, headsets, furniture, their own necks, but one incident takes the cake. When you put on a headset, you're basically blind to the outside world, minus this cool little nose hole. So it isn't really a surprise that people hit stuff, but one 44-year-old Russian guy took this to the extreme. In 2017, he was playing with his sweet new VR setup. He was walking around his apartment, probably trying to head pat a cat girl in VR chat, when he tripped and fell on a glass table and got all cut up.
The cuts from the shattered glass resulted in him bleeding out. And wait, why are you playing VR near a glass table?
With all due respect here, maybe don't play something that makes you completely blind around what is essentially a giant piece of glass. Pour one out for my homie. Besides the fact that it essentially makes you blind, VR is actually pretty cool, despite all of the broken stuff.
VR is so cool, it does some gnarly stuff to your brain.
I'm sure you've all gotten sick in VR at some point or another, and this is why. Your brain is constantly getting signals from those juicy eyeballs of yours, and a part of your inner ear called the vestibular system, along with some other less important stuff I don't really know, tells your brain that you're moving. But it's VR, so you're standing in the dark, alone. Your brain is trying to understand whether or not you're moving by using these signals. Your eyes are saying, hey, I'm moving, but your ears are saying, no, you're not. And like any good parental disagreement, they're both yelling. And your brain, being the small, innocent child that it is, has no idea what's going on.
And just like American couples' divorce rates, around 50% of people experience motion sickness in VR.
Here are two simple tricks that you can use to prevent motion sickness. One involves a fan, and the other involves a mat. No, not you, famous actor Matthew Broderick, who crashed a car in Ireland resulting in the death of 2 women but got off by paying a $175 fine. If you simply take a fan and point it at you when you're in VR, it can trick your brain into understanding that it isn't really moving, or something. I don't know, I'm not a scientist. But this trick actually worked really well for me. The other trick is to use one of these weird matte carpet things. You just set it on your floor and it helps you feel when you're wandering off to the edges of your play space. This can also help your brain understand where it is in reality compared to virtual reality and thus reduce sickness. I personally never used that trick because the fan trick was good enough for me.
Use these tricks in VR for a few weeks and you'll be comfortable enough to not care. Now let's talk about the effects of VR that you can't see.
VR Chat, a VR social game based solely around talking with other people. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? In its simplest form, it's a social media platform, and we already know that social media can fuck up your brain pretty badly, leading to all of this kind of bad stuff. VR is a new technology, and given that it is much more immersive, God, I hate that word so much, I would make sure that you're mentally prepared for this hellscape metaphysical representation of the human condition.
See, the cool part about VR Chat is that everything is made by people in the community. Things like this very innocent world, all the way to this one that grown adults use to roleplay as children. There's nothing sus about that there. Everything is community created, including the avatars that you can play at. Some of these avatars are basically 3D art pieces that you can be, while other avatars happen to be the equivalent of a first grader's macaroni art project.
Your VR Chat avatar performs the same function that a profile photo would on any other social media platform, but this time, you can be them. Yeah, this leads to all sorts of issues for people. I remember before playing VR Chat, I was fairly straight cut, and now I'm the human embodiment of a Denny's bathroom mid-happy hour.
People behave badly enough when they get behind a keyboard to post on their favorite anime forum. Now imagine when somebody with a slight power fantasy can become basically anyone they want to be.
Here's the tired analogy of a fresh graduate going off to college. Becky here thinks that college is going to be a fresh start for her and she can be whoever she wants. Our friend Joe is in the same situation. He sees college as a fresh start for himself as well. Becky goes off and meets a group of friends and learns about who she is and fixes some of her problems with the support of her new friend group. Joe, on the other hand, puts on a mask, haha, oh my god, dream reference, and ended up meeting some very toxic friends who are also fans of Andrew Tate.
Spoiler alert, Joe became an alcoholic and died at 15. In the best case, VR Chat helps somebody become more of who they are. I know playing VR Chat has helped me explore myself as a person and who I choose to represent myself as. It made me more comfortable with myself and helped me meet some really incredible people.
On the other hand, you're just as likely to run into people in VR Chat who see it as a chance to fake who they are. Needless to say, this is a huge red flag. It's pretty easy to get caught up in a pride-driven echo chamber where people feel like they have to fight for every bit of attention that they can possibly get.
One bit of toxicity that I see rather often in VR Chat is hate on Quest 2 users. Quest 2 users are like your little cousin in VR. It's fun to tease them a little bit, and usually it's harmless banter. Sometimes people take it a bit too far though, and start making fun of somebody for playing on a Quest 2 solely because they think they're poor. Sorry Jeremy, but not everyone can afford a $5,000 VR gaming setup with full body tracking and haptic feedback just to get the ultimate anime girl experience.
It's been shown over time with some very nicely done studies that social media use by people who are already socially isolated can result in some very bad things. When you use social media or VR chat, it's always best to go in with the understanding that you are either going to see the best in people or the worst in people. There really is no in between. One day you might be doom scrolling through Facebook and see a cute video of a puppy. And the next day, all you see is someone at a street takeover getting absolutely destroyed by Marissa's black Nissan Altima.
Something like VR chat has never existed on such a massive scale before, being that it is the most immersive and interactive form of social media to ever exist. And with it being so community driven, it's inherent that alongside seeing the really great parts of people, you will also have to suffer through some of the awfulness that comes with toxic people. Damn, I hate people.
In 2017, back in my day, the first time I played VR chat was solely to troll as Uganda Knuckles. After realizing how cool this software could actually be, I got my hands on a Vive and full body tracking ASAP. Over the years, I went through 3 full friend groups before I found one that was full of people who were comfortable being their actual selves. You just gotta have a little bit of patience. If you get anything from this video, it's don't play VR near fragile stuff like a glass table, but also stay safe out there. If you're just trying to vibe in VR chat but are having a hard time making friends, try out this simple trick.
Beans.
What the fuck?
Actually, making friends in VR chat can be pretty hard sometimes. Just keep world hopping until you find someone nice, and the rest will take care of itself. Just be really careful to avoid any red flags. VR chat can turn from a really fun time to an absolute shit show before you know it. Always go into VR chat and other social media with the understanding that some of the stuff you see might be fabricated. A lot of people are only ever going to be trying to portray themselves as perfection purely for the fact that they think it makes them look better. Always be real, always be yourself. If you see me in VR chat, feel free to say hi. Rest easy, my friends.